This morning was the Nintendo Direct that was announced, and they had some spicy announcements. So, do you want to start with, I guess, some of the announcements?
Yeah, sure. So, Nintendo also started their presentation with one hell of a whopper at the start. Um, Game they kicked off this presentation with was Fire Emblem Engage, and this one looks like a just traditional style Fire Emblem. Yeah, it's got more anime characters, so if you're not into anime, this is not going to sway you any. But the premise of this one seems very interesting to me because the main character has a interesting ring that is on their hand, and that ring apparently can bind certain Fire Emblem hero spirits from the past games, and he's shown off in parts of this a gameplay trailer sort of thing, summoning Marth to do battles with him and things like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
very interesting premise and everything. One of the things that I did make light of is the fact that Nintendo is going to also release a limited edition version of this game with art books and all the usual limited edition tchotchkes. But if the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 limited edition situation in North America is any sign of things to come, expect the pre-order for the limited edition version of Fire Emblem Engage to be an absolute shit
Oh
show.
yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right on that. That's gonna be unless they've learned their lesson and found a way to do that correctly. Yeah, scalpers are just gonna pick that up like easily. The only problem I had with the Fire Emblem Engage announcement is the title. I think Fire Emblem Engage is a bad title, especially when you look at the previous ones like Three Houses, Shadow of Valencia, Awakening. Like, Engage just seems like, I don't know, it seems kind of sci fi ish. Like, I don't know. But other than that, it looked great. And it definitely is a Fire Emblem game. I originally thought it was too soon for a new one, but then you remind me the last one was 3 years ago. So yeah, that's cool. It's great that we have another Fire Emblem game, especially from a series that was once believed to be dead. So that's great. What else was? You know what? Let's get into updates on this before we get into, I would say, like the new announcements. They showed a new trailer for Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta 3, we know what it is. And
Yeah, and Nintendo also posted a bonus updated or an not updated but extended trailer after the direct was posted. So,
yeah,
and I think that extended trailer is like a whopping 7 minutes. So, yeah, if you're a Bayonetta nerd, then I would suggest you visit the Nintendo YouTube channel and go find the extended trailer that they posted.
yeah. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is given a release date of December 13th. I'm really
Yeah,
surprised they did this in a Nintendo Direct, since I think this version is the one that will sell the least. But okay,
yeah, and it's funny because I think immediately after the English trailer hit the Nintendo YouTube channel, the English Square Enix YouTube channel posted their trailer saying it's coming out to all platforms on December 13th.
right.
So yeah, it was definitely funny to see that the Switch got the announcement first before all the other
Yeah.
platforms.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is gonna have Wave 3 of its Booster Court Pass coming soon. It's gonna have a bunch of tracks from Tour and Mario Kart DS and a bunch of others. So you can look forward to that. I think they said December for that, or holiday. I
Yeah,
mean,
holiday, so probably around Christmas, maybe as early as Thanksgiving. Kind of hard to call.
the next update for Nintendo Switch Sports will get Golf, and that's delayed till this holiday. Uh,
And a quick clarification on the golf update.
mhm,
They are adding an online multiplayer mode called Survival Golf, which
mhm.
will allow you to play with up to 8 players online simultaneously. And it's basically sort of like a King of the Hill sort of play format that um, there will be a minimum amount of strokes to basically make it to the next phase, and then it'll run up until like there's only two players left, at least according to how the trailer went. So might be interesting for anyone who's really good at golf. So
Yeah.
maybe if you're looking forward to that, then yeah, it sounds like you'll have a blast with that.
Yeah. Mario Strikers Battle League is getting a second free update this month. They're adding 2 characters and a new arena, if you care about that. That sold okay, I think. I don't think it sold really well, but it sold all right. So that's good that they're updating that. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has Wave 2 of its DLC, and it's adding a new character. It's a mechanical character. I didn't play 3, so I don't know what that. Oh, it also has new outfits, and challenge battles. So there's more content for those who happen to have played all 80 hours and beat the game. So that's good. Splatoon 3's first battle, Splatfest, will choose between gear, grub, and fun, which, if you're in a desert island, which would you have? Okay, sure. Fine. And that is it, I think. In regards to Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe comes out. It's a remake of the Wii game. I know that game is kind of a collector's item now. It's kind of hard to find. So it's interesting that they're remaking that, but I don't hear a lot of people who are Kirby fans say they find this to be a good game or not. Like, I think a lot of people forget that this game exists, unless you're a collector.
Yeah.
Of games.
Some of the chatter that I've seen in some of the Kirby communities is that this is great, considering that the Wii release is now a collector's item. This makes the game much more accessible to find. So it's good to see that this could potentially disrupt the collector's market, which I'm in favor of any day.
Yeah.
The one problem I did see the Kirby community have a problem with is that the original release had very, very hard lines on the edges of the characters and stuff, and for some reason they've done away with that in this remake's art style. So a lot of fans are kind of scratching their head going, it looked fine, and now you've got the graphic design looking so soft now because you no longer have the hard lines outlining the outline of the characters anymore. So just why this strange decision all of a sudden?
Yeah. That's coming out February 24th of next year. Octopath Traveler 2 was announced. I don't know how far you got in Octopath Traveler 1. I did all the stories of Octopath Traveler 1, all the separate stories in the first round. And then after that, I kind of fell off. And it was also because it just didn't seem like I had problems with the story of Octopath Traveler 1. And I had kind of problems with the gameplay too. So I hope they do some improvements on that, especially in the story. Because if the story is good, I probably would have dealt with the problems I had gameplay wise. But yeah, but this sold very well, so it's not a surprise it's getting a sequel. That's coming out February 24th, so same day as Kirby. That's weird. So there you go with that. That's also coming to PC, PS5, and PS4. It's not coming to Xbox right away. So
yeah. As far as Octopath Traveler 2, looks interesting enough. I got maybe 25% into Octopath Traveler, and I think for me, I just got so sidetracked that I was just like, I'll just put this on ice. And unfortunately, I have just never revisited the game again. I will say that one of the mechanical changes for this sequel that I thought was interesting is that the game will have day and night cycles, but depending on the time of day and the cycle that it's in, your character skills could potentially change. Because, I think one of the examples that that they had shown was there was a samurai character that by day he uses a bunch of his sword skills, but in the evening he has like merchant negotiation skills, so he can argue down prices with like merchants at like a fancy dinner or something. So I thought that was really interesting to see that you've got you've got characters that now have two skills you have to account for, and you as the player will have to leverage those skills with accordance to the situation. But on top of the situation, you also have to consider the time of day now too.
Okay. I'll wait for reviews, but I know a lot of people did like Octopath Traveler, so you got your sequel. Final Fantasy Theatrhythm Final Bar Line was announced. I could have sworn they said the last one that they were doing was the last one.
Yeah, it looks like this one is sort of like a greatest hits version that combines everything, but on top of that, they're also adding additional stuff. The good thing is that they've got a premium digital deluxe edition, which will just flat out give you everything, which is great because the 3DS release was so confusing with all the DLC packages, and there really wasn't like a neat way to say, I want all the DLC. Just give me all of the DLC. You for the 3DS store, you had to individually buy each freaking one. It was a fucking mess, but yeah, just good to see this one coming onto Switch. I quite enjoyed Theatrhythm on 3DS. Loved it even more at the local Round One arcade near me in my city because it's just a lot of fun to play on the arcade cabinet. So, from my quick observations, this looked like it was possibly a arcade port of the game. So, maybe it's a little bit less graphically pretty than the arcade version. I don't know. I'd have to see something a little bit closer to when this actually releases.
Okay. This is going to have a season pass that will add 90 new songs. It's going to have games from Nier, Octopath Traveler, Live a Live. Is it Live a Live? Or is it Live a Live?
Live Alive.
What?
Live Alive.
Live Alive. Okay. Live Alive. All right. I'll go with it. But and the game will have 385 songs to start. So it's a beefy product already, and you're going to get more songs if you get the pass, which I think the gold edition is what it's called, will have everything. So if you're interested, I guess get the gold edition. No word on price, I think, but this is coming February 16th of next year. Okay. So we'll move on. Another announcement is a bunch of new N64 games are heading to the Switch through the expansion pass. Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, Mario Party 1, 2, and 3, 1080 snowboarding. One I was excited by, Excite Bike 64. If you haven't played that and played the soccer minigame, it's a lot of fun. But the big announcement is that GoldenEye 007 is coming to the service with online play. An interesting announcement. I know that's going to excite a lot of people. Zero, why don't you give your thoughts about the announcement for the N64 expansion pass?
So it's a bit interesting that Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 are coming out because one of the big features in those in both of those games was the ability to use your original Game Boy Advance cartridges to basically transfer in your Pokemon to play. So because there's really no way to play Game Boy games on Switch, it's unfortunately just a missed opportunity to let people play with their own Pokemon. But
yeah,
the games had their own single player thing, so not a big deal. The Goldeneye announcement was a bit of a surprise for me, mostly because just there have been stories for years and years and years that any sort of reporting of GoldenEye 64 to modern systems, any thoughts of a remake or a remaster based on the N64 version were just mired in license agreements between Eon Entertainment, Rare, Nintendo, and it was it's been the subject of many YouTube video essays of, yeah, here are the reasons why we don't think a remake will ever happen, because just it's licensing hell.
Yeah.
And for the most part, just that's what I kind of had written it off as. This is licensing hell, as much as many people with nostalgia for N64 games bemoan that they would love to get their hands on this. It was one of those things that I sort of dismissed it as, yeah, this will happen when pigs fucking fly. And well, just here we are in the year of our Lord 2022 AD, and we've got it.
Yeah. Now, there are some caveats with this. The Wii version, of course, because it's on the expansion pass, is going to be streaming only. It's going to be the 64 game as it's originally made. Apparently, you read that it's not going to have dual stick controls, so they're not going to update the controls on that. The Switch version will have online play, but this is also coming to Xbox Series X and Xbox One, and they're not going to have online play on that one. But that will have updated HD textures and 4K resolution for that one. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, 4K resolution, 60 frames per second, stabilized frame rate, modern day twin analog controls, and split screen multiplayer. Okay. But no online multiplayer at all for this Xbox version. The good is that it will be free to play on Xbox Game Pass. So if you've got Game Pass, yeah, you'll be able to play for free. Mm-hmm. And then as an additional bonus, if you did the digital download version of Rare Replay, you will get GoldenEye 64 as a free DLC update to your Rare Replay package.
Yeah, that's nice. And Rare Replay has been like $5 for years on sales on Xbox. So you probably already have it at this point if you are mildly interested in Rare Replay. So that's good at least. But my thoughts are, that's great. Everybody has been clamoring for this. And my bet is everyone will play for an hour, realize that it's a game stuck in its time, and they'll never touch it again. That's my thought. And that's a downer, I know. But that's my thought on it. I see people saying, "Oh, remember when that was announced?" Yeah, I played it for about an hour and just never played it again. But yeah, cool. And that's it. So.
Yeah, I will say that the Xbox One probably will get a little bit more love, mostly because of the fact that it does have the modern twin analog control scheme set up. Especially for anyone who liked playing Perfect Dark when it was remastered on 360, then I imagine the same people who enjoyed that game will probably end up playing GoldenEye 64 on Xbox with the same sort of excitement and zeal.
Yeah. Okay, so next announcement. Resident Evil Village is coming to Switch through the cloud. And unfortunately, that's also going to be also Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake and Resident Evil 7 are all coming to Switch, but also through the cloud. So that's disappointing, unfortunately. But
it boggled my mind seeing that it was the games are coming to Switch as cloud versions, because just I don't know where they're getting the metrics that the cloud versions sell, because just especially with the fact that when the publisher decides to just say, well, we don't want to host the cloud version anymore, essentially you lose your game forever. There's no getting a refund just because they decide to shut down your game.
Yeah. Next up, the Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life remake was announced, called Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. That's coming summer of next year. Look, Harvest Moon was a successful franchise before Stardew Valley. But I don't understand why all these YouTubers and all these pundits are like saying, well, if Stardew Valley wasn't successful, this would have never been made. No, that's not true at all. Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons is a successful franchise. It always has been. So, anyway, it looks like a remake of A Wonderful Life. There's not much more to say about it. So,
Yeah, for anyone who just Harvest Moon in general, this is more just kind of just vintage style Harvest Moon, but with the ability to see your character, your character's significant other, and their children age. So it's kind of one of those sorts of farming sim games that has sort of a time element to it. So if you're kind of into that sort of continuity, then yeah, you might have fun with this.
Yeah. Fae Farm was announced as a mix of an RPG and farming. You can play with up to 4 players, which is interesting. But yeah, that's really it. No release date was shown, I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sometime next year, but kind of like what I mentioned on the Discord server that we're on, is that the creator, which is Phoenix Labs, they have had a bit of a contentious history with their users right now in their Monster Hunter style game, Dauntless. So I'd be really, really, really skeptical on this game, especially if they're not really listening to their user base right now for Dauntless. I just don't know. How good this may potentially be for a farming game.
Good to note. It looks interesting, but I would like to know more information about it, honestly. Harvestella gets a demo today, and it will be released November 4th.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Harvestella looks really fun. It's kind of in the vibe of Rune Factory, so if you're into Rune Factory, then this is probably one to keep an eye on, especially with respect to just God. I just forgot the name of the Phoenix Labs game now.
Oh, Fae Farm.
Fae Farm, yeah. I would probably advise people to really consider Harvestella instead of Fae Farm, mostly because of the fact that just if you're looking for something that feels a little bit more like Rune Factory, then yeah, just Harvestella is really going to be the better choice, in my opinion.
Right, and Harvestella is coming first, so. Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse finally comes to the West. This is the Wii Fatal Frame, am I correct? Yes.
Yes, it is.
It was released in Japan in the Wii in 2008. Never made it here. It's finally coming. 2020, early 2023. The person on our I'm sorry, on our Discord essentially said this was not really that good. But
it's a weaker game in the Fatal Frame series, but it's not a bad game.
Okay.
So story is a bit weak, but it's mechanically it plays very good. So for anyone wondering, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse is also coming to other platforms because Koei Tecmo did release a trailer saying that it is also coming out to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and then it's also coming to PC via Steam. So, so if you're not in the mood to play it on Switch, then it's going to be readily available on other platforms to play.
Okay. Tunic and It Takes Two are both coming to the Switch. Tunic in September 27th, and It Takes Two in November 4th. I mean, Tunic has been getting fantastic reviews, and It Takes Two won Game of the Year last year. So it's great that they're both coming to Switch. I'm surprised it took so long for It Takes Two, but hey, cool anyway. Smaller announcements. Sifu is coming to the Switch in November. The Front Mission First remake is coming 2023. Wait, hold on. No, the first remake is coming in November. The second one is coming in 2023, and they confirmed a remake of the third one, which I'm excited for. The third one was excellent. I love the third one. Just throw in when you want.
Yeah. For anyone who needs a reminder, Front Mission 1 and two's remakes are being made by Forever Entertainment, and they were the folks behind the Panzer Dragoon remake that came out on Switch, PS4, Xbox, and I think PC. I'm not 100% sure,
Yeah.
so don't quote me on that. But yeah, just I am curious if these games will also be coming out to other platforms, but there's no telling.
The surprisingly popular Atelier Ryza games. The third one is coming, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. It's coming early 2023. I am going to bet that that's going to all platforms.
Oh yeah,
It's currently for February 24th, 2023. These are the first Atelier games to get over 1 million in sales. So I'm not surprised
yeah.
they're doing sequels of this. But I am surprised by how popular Ryza is, especially with a certain segment of the male demographic of RPG fans. Well, actually, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised, but yeah.
So, and to also make mention, Atelier Ryza 3 is likely going to be the last game in the series because typically with the Atelier games, they are released on a trilogy cycle. So you'll have 3 games that will be part of one story trilogy, and then you'll have another set of 3 games that'll be part of another trilogy.
Mhm.
So this third Atelier Ryza game will likely be the last of the Ryza trilogy.
But what's different with Ryza is the fact that the trilogies had different main characters for each edition. Because there's Atelier Sophie, Atelier Maruru, Atelier Taruru. Those are actual names. I'm not just making weird noises. But this is what's different about Ryza, because Ryza, I guess, was just so popular that they had to use Ryza in all 3 games. But I guess that just shows that the formula that they made for those games, they perfected so well that it made Ryza to be very popular. So, and everyone loves
Yeah,
the character. So that's cool.
yeah, and it's kind of neat too because all of the characters do sort of grow up as well too. Um, because one of the characters that's kind of a warrior in the first game, he becomes more closer to like a barbarian by like the second game,
Hmm.
and no idea of how he's going to change for the third game and everything. So if you like sort of seeing the characters sort of grow up and either mature or go mad in their own sort of character progression, then yeah, just you'll like the continuity from Atelier Ryza 3. I know for me, I'm definitely excited because I have loved Atelier Ryza 1. I've not had a chance to get started on Atelier Ryza 2.
Hmm.
So I'll definitely need to try to get 1 finished up so I can get on to 2, get that finished up, and get ready for Atelier Ryza 3.
They're good, cute games. I got into Maruru and played a lot of it. I didn't beat it, but I enjoyed it. But they're cute. They're very they're colorful in an earthly sort of way, and they just have I would just say adorable look characters that are they're in the game. So they're good. They're good games. But I hear Ryza is just so well done that if you're gonna start playing them, start with the Ryza series. So
Yeah, and Ryza does not have a timeline
that's right.
deadline sort of mechanic. So for anyone who has always been worried about the time management aspect of the Atelier games, this is me making the endorsement that Atelier Ryza is a great starting point because there's no pressure on getting your objective deadline done like the other Atelier games. You have as much time as you want to take to grind out the items that you want, or if you want to grind out the gear and make sure your characters are geared up for the next chapter, and everything. Yeah, you've got all the time in the world that you want to spend to either grind out your gear and your supplies, or you can just burn through every single objective as quick as you want. So the agency is pretty much on you as the player.
Tales and Symphonia Remastered was announced. I could have sworn they remastered this already. I could have sworn it. This was originally on GameCube. It was re-released on, I believe, PS3 with
Yeah.
the sequel. And then I might be wrong, but I could swear that they have re-released it again previously, and then this is another re-release of this game. I'm gonna bet it's coming to all platforms because I don't see why they would make this exclusive to the Switch. But the graphics don't look updated at all. It just looks like a dumped ROM of the GameCube game. But if you haven't played it, it's good. And if you're into Tales games, I mean, there you go. You should play it.
Yeah, the Japanese Tales social media account on Twitter actually did confirm that the Tales of Symphonia Remastered release will also be coming out to PS4 and Xbox One.
Okay, there we go. The Danganronpa creators have announced Master Detective Archives Rank Code. They showed some... I guess they showed some cutscenes, but that's it, really. But if a
cutscene and then sort of an action scene where you're supposed to basically separate truth and lies in sort of like an action combat sort of thing. So, I mean, if you're familiar with having to shoot truth bullets and stuff like that in Danganronpa, it's much the same, just animated with your detective using a sword to slash and destroy inconsistencies and lies in the testimony process.
Okay. I'm going to guess if you're into Danganronpa, you're probably interested in this. That's coming out spring 2023. SpongeBob SquarePants, The Cosmic Shake was shown off again. It's coming to 2023. Okay. I mean, this was in the THQ stream about a month ago. It's a SpongeBob 3D platformer. Okay. If you want it, you know it. Anyway, Rune Factory 3 remake was announced. Is it a remake?
Yeah, it's a Rune Factory 3 Special, which is just a remake of the game. So, just if you liked Rune Factory 3, then this is just going to be a remake of it, and likely, I imagine there's probably going to be some quality of life changes. I never played 3, so I couldn't discern if there were some quality of life changes in the trailer that they showed off, but anyone who played it would likely know better than I would.
I remember playing 1 and really enjoying it, but I haven't gotten to the new one since.
Yeah, I bought 4 Special when it was released on 3DS, and then I bought it again on Switch, mostly because I just enjoyed playing the game on my TV.
Okay.
And 4 Special is really fun. Haven't had a chance to pick up 5. And speaking of the sequels of the game, at the end of the Rune Factory 3 Special announcement, they teased that there's a brand new Rune Factory game in development. So I would presume this is to say Rune Factory 6 is being worked on, and they will have more to announce when it's a little bit more closer to being presentable.
They didn't make it sound like it was a sequel, though, because if it was a sequel, they probably would say so. It sounded like a spinoff to me. I might be wrong. I might be reading too much into it, but it just, if there was a sequel, I think they would outright say, and then a new sequel to Rune Factory is coming. But they say it was a new. How do they phrase it?
It just was a new Rune Factories in development was really just how they framed it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's for those who are into Rune Factory, and there is a sizable amount of people. That's a cool announcement. Various Day Life is released today. It's an immersive RPG. That is a terrible title. It features job progression, strategic exploration, and an innovative battle system. From what I recall the trailer, it didn't say much either. So I guess reviews will probably come out in the next couple of days, unless you just want to buy it outright. But yeah, there's Various Day Life. Anything to add on that?
Yeah, just I was kind of like, oh, well, that's neat. So, definitely hesitant to kind of jump on a game like that. But yeah, I'll probably see how reviews end up sitting with it in the next few days.
It is $28.99 on Steam.
Probably not a bad price for anyone who might be into it.
Zero had a nerd erection when he heard that Radiant Silvergun is coming, and it's coming today on the Switch.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my goodness. So, for anyone who's a big fan of treasure shooters like Ikaruga, this is one game you should not skip out on because it is the prequel to Ikaruga. For anyone who wants some historical context, it was originally a Sega Saturn only game, and then, well, just when the Saturn died, it instantly became a collector's item, and it got so bad with the collector's item situation that used Sega Saturn discs for this game were starting anywhere from like $400 to $500, and if you absolutely had to have a pristine mint sealed in the plastic copy, I remember bids going anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000 for a Radiant Silvergun disc. And then many years later, Treasure, in conjunction with Microsoft, did a remaster of the game for Xbox, specifically for 360 as part of the Live Arcade release. So that was one way to get it, but as always, not everyone had an Xbox. So if you didn't have an interest in an Xbox, well, really wasn't any other legal way to play the game. So to have it come out to Switch is great to see, because just the Switch has been getting a lot of the vintage bullet hell shooters. So this is a great one to add to any bullet hell shooter addict's library.
Absolutely. I've heard great things of this and Ikaruga. So I don't know if Ikaruga is on Switch, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, there we go. You have no excuse now. We're going to go through these quick. Factorio was announced, coming October 28th. It's an assembly line game, essentially. It was for PC. It's been out for PC for a while now. And from what I've seen of it, it's kind of weird it's coming to Switch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
IB was announced. It's a adventure game that's, I guess, kind of creepy. No release date that I recall. Oddball.
I believe it's coming sometime next year.
Right. Oddballers was announced. It's a party game for up to 6 players. That's a party game for 6 players, coming in 2023. Here's a weird one. Fantasy Fitness Boxing Fist of the North Star was announced for March 2023. Fitness Boxing basically is an exercise game that you use with the Switch. The Switch. What do you call them?
Joy-Cons.
Thank you. The Joy-Cons. And the way you punch, go left, right, is dictated on screen, I guess, from what you do. They married that with Fist of the North Star, so I guess you can violently explode people to a pool of blood when you have a good workout. So that's cool. I get that is so weird.
Oh yeah,
so weird.
As someone who's a huge fan of Fist of the North Star, I absolutely died laughing. I was like, okay, this is freaking hilarious and awesome at the same time.
Yeah. That's coming March 2023. Just Dance coming in November 22nd. They showed off BTS's Dynamite, which I now hate the both of you right now who told me to listen to this video. It is catchy as hell and it's been on my head all day, and I hate you for it.
Hey, I was correcting you because you thought it was a Justin Timberlake song.
I did not. No, that's not true. I did not say that was a Justin Timberlake song. I said that when they showed that in the Ubisoft Forward, that the Justin Timberlake song was the one.
Never mind.
Yes, that's what I said. So, yeah. But this one showed off BTS and Dynamite, and that'll forever be in my head for the rest of the night. And I hate you for it. It's a good song. I'll say what I said when you guys showed it to me. Yeah, pretty boys that sing very well, and it's catchy. Okay, cool. Nothing new, but yeah, it's a catchy song. And I appreciate a guy who can wear a vest and a tie and not look like a complete douche. So that's cool. Awesome. So, but anyway, I still hate.
Yeah, I think now we get to the point of the sizzle trailer stuff before the one big major announcement that capped off Nintendo's presentation.
Actually, we
Um,
just went through the sizzle trailer stuff.
oh, okay. I didn't know if we went through the Life is Strange collection with a reminder that it's still coming out, and same for stuff like Romancing Saga, Minstrel Song, also still coming out to Switch and whatever.
Yeah, and we went through most of it. The site that I'm getting all this from, I guess, took those out. Guess they weren't important enough, but yeah, those are coming. What was the last one that was on here? Oh, Endless Dungeon is coming to Switch, which I thought was interesting. But let's get to the two big announcements. Pikmin 4 was finally announced. It's coming 2023. They showed very little gameplay, but they said it's close to completion, and it's coming. Well, they said it's close to being completed, and it's coming 2023. And
Yeah.
they showed. They talked a little bit about the Mario movie. Very little, but they didn't show anything about that. So that was kind of a surprise. I was so ready to see Chris Pratt in this direct, because that
Yeah.
just seems like a thing Nintendo would do. But
Oh yeah, totally. With Pikmin 4, one of the interesting pieces that Miyamoto did highlight was the fact that there would be a new viewpoint where you could play the game from kind of a boots on the ground sort of viewpoint, where whoever the captain is for this game, you'd be able to kind of put the camera in what looked like a third person sort of perspective. And at least with how Miyamoto discussed it, it sounded like this would be an additional way to play on top of the usual traditional top-down field play that everyone has been so acquainted with in a lot of the Pikmin games and everything.
yeah, again coming in 2023. They showed off Pikmin Bloom for some reason. I mean, I think the people who are into Pikmin know about it, so I don't know why they spent so much time on it, but okay, fine. And then the last thing they showed was the sequel to Breath of the Wild. It's now called The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. They didn't show much gameplay, but it looked like it's going to be more sky-based than Breath of the Wild. And the official release date is May 12th, 2023. Go ahead. And
Yeah. So this one was interesting to me because just there seemed to be a lot of transition from the ground world to the sky world, and the first thing it got me thinking of was just Skyward Sword, and the fact that just the safe part of the world in Skyward Sword is literally the sky world, because just evil doesn't fly up to the sky is pretty much what legends and lore in the game pretty much state. But the ground world is where all the dangers lurk and whatnots. So I'm interested if this game is going to sort of play in the legends and lore of Skyward Sword, but it's just way too early to tell. And I presume that Nintendo will probably have some sort of special direct for Tears of the Kingdom a little bit closer to release that maybe starts to set up the lore of the game. So it will be something to really just wait and be patient about.
Okay. So what are your thoughts of the Nintendo Direct that happened today?
I thought it was a pretty good direct. Not really anything too crazy. Seeing the Fire Emblem game was kind of nice, especially since there was a leak a couple months ago about the game in development. But for me, it was a nice, pleasant surprise to see that it's coming out in January of next year. I was just like, oh wow, neat. I thought this game had still had a little while to go, but here we are. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom getting a release date for next May. That's pretty fun considering it's been quite a while since Breath of the Wild, and I really enjoyed the hell out of Breath of the Wild. So definitely good to know that that's coming out sometime next year. So I will definitely be excited to get my hands on that and play it. And then Pikmin 4, I can only imagine that Pikmin fans are just overjoyed with that.
God, they've been waiting for a new one for God knows how long now. So, yeah, that's good. It was a decent direct. The big ones hit very well. But the one thing I noticed is that there really isn't much coming for the end of the year. These are all 2023 games mostly. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of a disappointment. I was expecting a little more for the end of the year, but it doesn't look like they're having much. So, yeah, but that it's good to look forward to next year. And then there's going to be probably direct in February of next year. So that'll be interesting. So, yeah, overall, not bad. Not bad. Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening and watching this podcast segment of the Capital Games Podcast. Me and Zero thank you for clicking on the video and watching. If you want, we have another video on the screen right now where you can listen to if you are interested. We also want to let you know that we do a movie podcast called the Capital Games Movie Club. This week, we are reviewing A Beautiful Mind. Last week, we did V for Vendetta. So if you're interested in either of those, or any of our opinions on the movies that we have reviewed, go ahead and click on it on the screen right there. Thank you again for listening and watching. I hope to hear from you next time. Bye now.